Folks, today was a pretty big day for the president because he's changed the people standing behind his law and order strategy going forward. Todd Blanche was sworn in as the new AG after a 50-49 Senate vote. And Will Scharf, longtime advisor to the president, is going to be the White House Counsel starting on September 1st. Now, one job is going to run the Justice Department. The other is going to sit in the White House with the president, and together they're going to give President Trump a new legal chain of command at the exact moment that his agenda is headed for the next round of fights. Okay. Now, Caroline Leavitt made this announcement, and Blanche is swearing in. Okay. And again, Scharf is going to replace David Warrington on the 1st of September. And look, these are not interchangeable titles. Okay. The DOJ investigates, prosecutes, litigates, and defends federal authority. The White House Counsel helps President Trump handle executive actions, lawsuits, congressional investigations, all from his side in the White House. So the question now is not whether these lawyers have impressive resumes. We know they do. Okay? They're longtime Trump allies. The question is whether the White House and DOJ can move as one, especially when the next legal fight lands, because we absolutely know that it's coming. Okay. Now, Blanche's 50-49 confirmation was not a routine personnel announcement. We knew the Senate battle. We watched it. It sucked, but he won it. Okay. Now the transition period is over. He can basically take the AG's office and responsibility for the direction of the DOJ starting today. Now, you may say, JR, he was in, an acting capacity, and that's true. Now, going into a confirmation, it gives President Trump a clear place to look when the department's priorities become decisions. Now, on public safety, we're hoping that, and I think that Todd Blanche is going to take the DOJ into a harder line on violent crime, on organized crime, and federal prosecution. Pretty confident that he's going to be tougher on immigration, and he'll defend our federal agencies and challenge the sanctuary policies that are continuing to run amok. And we also have the elections. Okay. Todd Blanche has the power and has been directed by the president to investigate federal election crimes and defend lawful safeguards. Okay. Those are the lanes that we're going to have to watch. Now, Blanche isn't going to be able to rewrite statutes, but he can set the direction of the department, decide what the DOJ defends, and make the department answerable for the president's priorities. Now, this is why, that this entire situation is more than a title change, because Blanche now has official authority, and the White House can measure what the department does with it. Now, September 1st, that's the other parallel path we have running here. Okay, it's the clock for Will Scharf when he becomes the White House Counsel, replacing David Warrington. Now, the White House Counsel is not the AG. It doesn't run the DOJ, doesn't report to the DOJ. It's the president's in-house lawyer, legal command post, okay? It's the place that prepares his executive actions, reviews any legal risks, coordinates responses to Congress or the courts. Ultimately, he's responsible for helping the president and the White House defend President Trump, his executive authority. Okay. Now, Scharf has been a long time ally to the president. He's represented him, including before the Supreme Court. He understands the president's legal environment. He also understands the pressure that comes with high stakes fights because he's been there. Okay. That makes his value less about, a press conference and more about speed. Okay, when a policy is challenged, who has the answer ready? It's going to be Bill Scharf. Okay, when Congress wants records, who coordinates the response? When an executive order is attacked, who keeps the White House legal strategy from splintering? It's all going to be Will. Okay. Now, the potential upside for President Trump through this is coordination. Blanche and Scharf have worked together. They both represented the president. And now you have Blanche setting the DOJ's posture, Scharf helping the White House choose and defend its position. all under the same administration. Fewer gaps now. Okay. And if those legal priorities line up, the president's going to have a better chance of moving from policy announcement to legal defense to enforcement. And if they don't line up, then every new lawsuit is going to become an internal fight before it ever reaches the court. Now, there are 2 appointments in 2 clocks. Okay. Those 2 dudes right there, Todd Blanche and Will Scharf. Okay. Blanche is active now and Scharf September 1st. Now for Blanche, we're going to have to watch the DOJ. Is it going to change its posture on public safety, immigration enforcement, election integrity, and the defense of executive action? And for Scharf, we're going to have to watch whether the White House becomes faster and more unified, especially with these investigations or with correspondence with the courts, because everything that Trump has been doing is being challenged because that's the Democrats' MO. Okay. Lawsuits or executive action fights, if they get there, Will's got to kick them right back out the door. So the names have changed, but the next fight is going to show whether these two and the strategy changed with them. And I don't think it has. Okay. Because President Trump has trusted these two in these posts to a certain degree. I mean, Will Scharf has been his assistant, his aide, but every time a executive order is being read in the White House and handing it over to the president, he was the one reading it. So, he's been involved. Okay. But these 2 posts are going to show where his agenda has to be executed and defended. And that's the reset. That's the law and order. Now we're going to find out whether this is a real legal war room or maybe a little bit of a reshuffle. Now, folks, if you want the next move when this legal team faces it, or maybe its first major test, subscribe. Okay. Stay with me. All right. Now, Blanche is in. Scharf is next. 1 DOJ, 1 with the president in the White House. Now, let's watch what they do with the authority that they're given. I think they're going to do great. And I think the president has put together the right people. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit iffy on Blanche at first because of his past, but what he's shown in the capacity of acting AG and deputy AG when Pam Bondi was in, it's been pretty good. I would have liked to see him be a little bit more stern during his Senate confirmation when they were asking him about, the president and his family and their legal protections. But, ultimately, I think Todd Blanche is doing a good job. And Will Scharf is just he's a good guy. So, all right, folks, see you in the next one.